right. Trying to get my notes up. Okay, let's see. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So since I posted my moving to London vlog and flat hunting vlog, I gotten a lot of questions on like Instagram and in the comments about kind of like the specific details of moving to the UK. I guess a lot of people are considering the move, or I guess that's how you find my videos if you're considering the move. So I thought I would make a video sharing some of the things I learned, things I wish I knew, and just like random tips I have for people who are also considering moving to London. I'll talk through some of the things I wish I did before I moved to the UK and things that I think you need to do after you move to the UK that I wasn't even aware of till I got here. Let's get started. So I shared specifically my experience getting the T5 visa from Canada to the UK, which is like a 2-year-long youth mobility visa, or I think in other countries it'd be called like a working holiday visa. If you want to learn more about my experience there, you can click the video that's gonna pop up somewhere up there. But the thing I want to talk about in this video is about the timing of the visa. So of course in every country, you getting a visa to UK is gonna be very different. So I really have no experience to share on getting other kinds of visa or from a different country, how long it would take. But just be wary of how long the visa process can take, and also the entrance period that you have from after you get your visa. So I'm not 100% sure that it's like this for every single visa, but for example, for my visa, it took one and a half month-ish for me to finally have the visa in my hand. I applied, I got a visa appointment, and then I handed over my passport, and then the visa comes back 3 weeks after that. So it kind of depends on when you get your visa appointment. But from when you get your visa, you have about 3 months to enter the country. It's not a big deal if you don't enter the country within 3 months. You can definitely renew it or like get a refund for your visa and redo the process. Yeah, so you can definitely enter at the end of the 3-month entrance period. But let's say your visa is from like September. You can enter between September, November, or December. And you decide to enter in December. Your visa would end 2 years from September. So you technically lose 3 months of your visa. So if you really want to maximize your time, you do want your visa to start right when you plan to enter the UK, or like around the same time. It's not a big deal, but just something to be aware of if you want to maximize the time of your visa. I think it doesn't matter if it was linked to a job, then you know it doesn't really matter how long the visa is. But for my case, where it was just like a privilege almost, you get 2 years, it's your choice whether you wanted to make the most of it or not. Yeah. Next, I want to briefly talk about job hunting. So I did do a lot of research when I wasn't sure if I could continue working with my Canadian company, and right now is actually a really good time to be job hunting from your home country. You can definitely start applying before you even get here. I would say, like from my research online, it is easier if you're here and you're considered more serious if you're already in the country, because like they might go through the whole process for you and then in the end you can't come, and that would be like a waste of time for them. So anyways, you can definitely start applying, especially now with remote interviews. It's definitely beneficial for people applying from all over the globe, and also a lot of jobs are remote now, so they might even consider you even if you stay in your home country. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid to start applying. Also, one tip I have is that you can definitely get a UK phone number to put on your resume to, like, you're not lying that you're in the UK, but it does show that you're a little more serious. So you can use like an online service. I think I use one called Sonotel. It's also good if you're applying for properties. Yeah, and basically it's an app, and people can text and call you, but it's a UK phone number and it's a service through the internet. Another thing to consider before you're moving is, of course, accommodations. I have a whole video about my tips of renting in London and the things you can consider if you're moving to London. So you can click it. I think I got it. It's over here. You can click over here for that video. But basically, I think there's 3 options if you're moving to a new country. You can either get an Airbnb or some kind of short-term rental. You can sublease someone else's apartment, or you can sign a lease right away. Right now, people are doing a lot of virtual showings, although I wouldn't highly recommend signing a lease before you come, even though that's what I did. So yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it here. If you want to learn more about renting in London, you can click the video over here. So this is something I wish I did before I left Canada. Honestly, I did know how, like, I did research about how hard it is to get a debit card here, but I wasn't like, I didn't take it that seriously because I was like, oh, you know what, I have my credit cards, like I can just take my time getting a debit card. Even though I had an option to get a UK debit card when I was in Canada. But anyways, first of all, why you should get a debit card before you come, or why you need a debit card. So one, I don't know, with traditional banks here, it's very hard to get a debit card because you have no credit in the country. Unless you have credit, then it shouldn't be that hard. It also takes a bit of time for you to like get all the documentations. You might not have a permanent address yet. So all these things, you know, add time to getting that debit card. But also a lot of services here require direct debit as payment. So like your internet or your TV or your cell phone. So yeah, for example, my internet service at my place, I definitely needed to get it up and running like right away. So I think I did without it for like a week because I couldn't figure out what to do because I didn't have my debit card. So in the end, I ended up calling the service because when you try to do it online, it just rejects you. It just says you don't have enough credit or things like that. But I ended up calling the service provider, and they said that I can pay, you know, a full year upfront, and that's how I can get the service. So that's what I ended up doing, paying a whole year on my credit card up front. So if you don't want to do that, it'd be better to set it up with a debit card right away. If you plan on being in the UK for a long time, it's also good to start building credit as soon as possible. So in order to set up one in your home country, you need a bank that already is kind of like exist here in the UK. So for example, in Canada, that would be HSBC. I could have in Canada opened a HSBC account very easily, like a Canadian account, and then you pay $100 to be part of their Premier program, and then through that, they're able to open a UK account for you. So not only do you have like the debit card, you're also able to transfer money easier. It's not like the best rate. I still would suggest using like TransferWise or a different service to transfer money, but it's definitely fast. Like if you needed money urgently or you need to send money back to Canada urgently, it would just be the easiest way. You know, although if you didn't set one up or you don't have a bank that exists in both countries, there's still a lot of like digital banks that you can go with that you can easily get an account, but you can't set it up from your home country. You have to be here and have a permanent address and your residency permit to be able to set that up. So that would be after you move here. Another tip I have is that if you want a credit card here, that also depends on your credit. So having no credit, it would be kind of difficult to get a credit card as well. I tried to apply for the American Express credit card, but I was denied at first. And then I realized I have a Canadian American Express card. So if you call American Express, they will use like your credit history from your Canadian Express card and give you a UK American Express card as well. So that's what I ended up doing, because if I was charging, you know, like pounds onto my Canadian credit card, the conversion is not the best. So yeah, if you have an American Express card, that's an easy way to get a credit card here. Another thing that's helpful to have if you have time before you leave is getting a SIM card delivered in your home country. So there are services online that can mail you a UK SIM card before you come to the UK, so you can have that right away when you leave the airport. I personally didn't do that. I wish I did. I didn't think that far ahead, so in the end I got a really overpriced SIM. It was like £50 or something at the airport because I really needed one. I was going to quarantine, so I wasn't sure if I was able to like go pick one up, or like if you get it through the mail, it still takes like a week to come. And I was starting work right away, and I was moving into a new place, so I had no internet. So I thought I could use like the cell phone internet. So for me, it was worth it. But if I really thought ahead, I would have mailed one to my place before I landed, and then when I got here, I could set up a plan that is like way cheaper. Cell phone plans here are like really affordable, so you can get like £10 a month for like 8 gigabytes. Lastly, for things you should do before you come to the UK, I wanted to talk about maybe a few things that I would suggest that you bring. This is kind of like a random list of things that I thought of. So number one, of course, an adapter. I would suggest you get a converter type adapter if you're coming from a country where the voltage is very different, not just the plug tip. So yeah, most adapters you find, they're just like changing the shape of the, I don't know these things that well. I don't know how to describe it, but they're just changing the shape of the plug, right? They're not actually converting the energy voltage to be like the best suited for your electronic device. So so from my research, if you bring like hair tools, like a blow dryer or like a curling iron, it's gonna break if you just use the adapter for the plug. You have to actually get the kind of plug that will convert the energy into the one that's suitable for your country. Or like me, just don't bring it. I didn't end up bringing any of my hot tools because the converter is actually quite expensive. So it just depends on if your appliances are worth it. So I've been using just a normal adapter for my laptops. I feel like it's a little risky. I do feel like they get more hot than when I was using them in Canada. So I don't know, maybe someone can tell me, am I breaking my MacBook right now? Like I did a little bit of research, but they said the MacBook should be pretty universal in terms of like the charger, but I don't know. So yeah, if you can, get a converter type adapter, not just a normal adapter. Another thing I would suggest is to pack your favorite seasoning or food. Of course, make sure that you're allowed to bring it. But for example, I brought a little like can of Montreal steak seasoning, which I love. I'm sure you can get it here, but I haven't seen it in any of my local grocery stores. And it's nice to have, but I'm not gonna go like searching for it just for like Montreal steak seasoning. But yeah, so you might want to pack some of your favorite foods that you can't get here, because it's just like comforting to have sometimes. Another thing I would suggest is maybe if you have some favorite beauty products, you might want to bring it here, because some of my favorite beauty brands are from the US, and here it's actually much more expensive. For example, like Hourglass products, Ardell eyelashes, Kiss eyelashes. Actually, they don't even sell Kiss eyelashes here, and I usually use that brand of eyelashes. So maybe take a look at your favorite products, things that you can't live without. And if you want to save a bit of money, it might be easier to bring it from the country you're coming from. Like currently, I'm still testing out brands to find what I like here. The brands here are a bit different. But yeah, these are minor problems. If you have space in your suitcase, bring it. If you don't, it's not a big deal. They have some of our products here. You're just gonna have to like test out the brands to find out the best one for you. Alright, moving on to after moving to the UK. Before I get into all the paperwork and stuff like that, I think what's most important is internet and cell phone service. So number one, for cell phone service, if you didn't get it in your home country already, like I spoke about before, you can get it at the airport, but it's going to be super overpriced, like £50 for like a SIM card. Or you can pick it up at a convenience store or a grocery store. Or lastly, you can order it online. It could take a while to come if you're ordering it online. Probably going into the store and picking it up is your best option. But if you're in quarantine, you might not have that option. And if you need a SIM card right away, I would suggest just picking up one at the airport if you're really desperate. But moving on to the next point around internet for your home. So the reason I picked up the SIM card at the airport is because I started work right away and I needed to use that as my main source of internet, because I was moving to a new place that didn't have internet set up already. And from what I read online, so I couldn't set up the internet beforehand. I needed to have like my residency permit and like ID or identification. So I could only set it up after I come here. And from what I read online, it could take 2 to 3 weeks for them to set up your internet. But actually, I got a bit lucky. The previous tenant or the owner left the modem here. So I saw that after like a few days of living here, and I called up the company and they were like, yeah, we can like start the service within like 10-15 minutes since you already have the modem. Anyway, so yeah, it just depends on where you're going. If you're going to like a home share or like a short-term lease, they should probably already have internet set up. But something to look into when you're coming here. So next, after you come here, if you need a quarantine, after your quarantine, you will need to pick up your biometric residency permit. So when you did the visa process, you probably picked a post office to go pick it up from. And I think in normal cases, you have to pick it up within 10 days of arriving in the UK. But if you had to quarantine, of course, you can pick it up after that. So the next thing that you need to do, which I didn't even know you need to do before, like I called to set up some service and they were like, oh, you should register for this, and I'm like, what? Why didn't anyone tell me that I have to set it up? So next you want to set up your national insurance number. So I've been trying to set this up for like the last 4 or 5 months I've been here, but before it used to be a service where you call on the phone, and during COVID times they kind of like pared down the service, so I was on hold for like a ridiculously long time, and I would have tried harder because you do need this number if you want to work. You can start work without it, but you're gonna need it eventually. So anyways, now I think they have an online system, which I'm gonna do kind of like after this call, because I just checked the website, and the online system is up now, so you can register for online. And I guess this is sort of like your SIN number, but yeah, you need this number to work here, and you also need this number to set up the next step, which is registering in the electoral roll. I just learned about this, so I didn't look too much into it, but it's basically you're registering where you live and your right to vote, I guess, in that area. But this is important not because you want to vote necessarily. It's important for your credit. So if you're registered on the electoral roll, it improves your credit and also saves you time on your credit applications. You might be thinking, where am I gonna need credit, right? You're gonna need credit everywhere. You're gonna need credit more than you think. So when I was trying to apply for like a cell phone plan, they're gonna need to check your credit. I think I took it for granted in Canada how I already had credit, right? I never really thought about credit for small things like cell phone service, but now that I think back, they do check your credit when you're signing up for a cell phone plan or anything like that. Even though I just felt like, yeah, I'm just filling in my driver's license, right? But they're checking my credit. Anyway, since I have no credit here, when I was trying to apply for these services, I was kept getting rejected online. So through any of the automated systems, they're gonna reject you because you have no history here. A few services I got through by calling them, and they could offer me kind of like a more expensive plan because I had no credit. But yeah, so getting on the electoral roll will help improve your credit, help build your credit, and also I think that you'll get easier access to certain services and also some jobs, depending on, you know, like if you're applying for like a financial service job, they'll probably perform a credit check, and yeah, so you definitely need this if you want to improve your credit here. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is registering for your GP. So through your visa, you probably paid for some kind of healthcare surcharge, and that's for the NHS here to be part of the healthcare system. You get access to kind of like the free healthcare they provide here. So registering for a GP surgery is basically the equivalent of registering for a family doctor in Canada. And it's a really simple process. I'll link the resources down below that you need to go to, but you basically find a GP in your area. You can choose one that you like in your area. I'd recommend looking at their Google reviews, and then you can choose one and then register on their respective platforms. Some GPs use different platforms. So the one I registered was pretty simple. I filled out an application online with all my information, and you can just do this when you have your BRP. They sent me like a text saying that, you know, like I've been accepted, and when I need to book appointments, they have like an online system that I just book appointments with. So, and then the reason I did it so fast is because I do have a condition that I need to see a specialist for, so they're the ones that are going to refer you if you need to see a specialist. So my GP referred me to like a specialist in a hospital in London, and I work with them both. But like, let's say for prescription refills or anything like that, I would go to my my local GP to do that. Anyways, I'm sure I missed some stuff, but this is kind of all the things that I've done so far. Let me know if you guys have any tips for other things people should do before they move into the UK or after they move into the UK. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video and want to see more of my life and experiences in London, please subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!